Ladies and gentlemen, we're here in Austin, Texas. We've got breaking news. This is an impromptu press conference directly to you, the American people, and the people of the world. McMaster has been documented to be the main leaker. And over a week ago, I said Trump was getting ready for a major purge. The New York Times, the Washington Post, all started breaking it in the last 2 days, confirming that we were right. We know that McMaster and the deep state has been absolutely trying to frame Trump as this Russian agent so they can get full control of his foreign policy. There's nothing to it. Now, we know a few days ago, obviously, Trump met with the foreign minister, Lavrov, and the Russian ambassador. Totally normal, Trump doing his job.
Part of his job.
Then they said, oh my God, maybe they hid microphones, or they didn't let U.S. photographers in. They had a pool photographer from the United States, a White House photographer, and then, of course, one with the Russians. Totally standard. So they just can't, everything's a Russian agent. Everybody's a foreigner, everybody's a globalist, but the globalist. You can't trust Trump because he wants to make America great again. So now they come out, and today, the Washington Post, and say anonymous source. They didn't say an anonymous source, says that Donald Trump's a good president or something. It's an anonymous source. He's in the meeting, and he starts giving him secrets about Al Qaeda and ISIS in Syria. First off, we've been working with the Russians for 4 or 5 years, 3 years intensely to take out ISIS and Al Qaeda. That's on the news. Secondarily, Trump's destroying them. It's Obama and Hillary that helped empower them and put them in charge. Trump's cleaning that up. So the claim that he's helping ISIS and Al Qaeda is just horse manure. Everybody knows that. He's the one that exposed them, selling the oil, selling the organs. Roger's about to break this down. So I just had the instinct. I said, there's only 3 Americans in the room. And they're saying we won't say who else was in the room except for the 2 Russians. There's 5 people in the room, including the president. Who has the history of doing it? We've been fingering McMaster is even worse.
Who has the motive?
Who has the motive? He's about to be removed. McMaster's about to be removed. So now he's the savior from his own leak to the Washington Post that's incredibly corrupt with Jeff Bezos and run by deep state. He comes out. He then says, the president didn't do this. I was there. It's made up. This is perfect to make him look good to the president, but I think Trump will see through it. I made phone calls to high-level folks. They said, that's the thinking right now. Then I met Roger about an hour ago for dinner. He said, I'm on the phone with the New York Times, other sources. He went and made the calls, came back, and said that is what the thinking is right now. In fact, they know where the leak came from as an agency. So we've honed it down. Roger Stone's about to give you the exclusive. Did McMaster leak to then pose him as the savior so that Trump won't fire him? Roger Stone.
Alex Jones is essentially correct. First of all, it's important the American people know that this is completely false. Donald Trump did not divulge classified information to the Russians. If he spoke about the efforts by ISIS to use personal computers as bombs and get them onto airplanes, there would nothing be inappropriate about that. You can read about that in the newspapers.
6 months ago.
We know that the leak came out of NSA. And by process of elimination and looking at everyone who was in the room, there's only one man who has a motive. This is designed to make Mr. McMaster, General McMaster, indispensable and to stop the effort to remove him from his current job, kick him over to the Pentagon, and give him the 4th star. Interesting enough, the military types don't want him at the Pentagon. I think the president, in his wisdom, will see through this. And it's time to send Mr. McMaster, General McMaster, packing.
And I want to be totally accurate because I know you were talking to a bunch of reporters, Washington Post, New York Times, they were all calling you. I was there till you had to go out of the room. You had just said that the thinking is that it is NSA, they know that. That points at McMaster. We're not totally sure of that, but he has the history. We know he's been involved in it. We know supposedly he's like the spy master, basically putting out info about Kushner, stuff about Bannon, you name it. Not that Kushner is perfect or Bannon's perfect, but that he's kind of the guy prime moving behind this with deep state, with, of course, the big Bilderberg globalist behind him. And, of course, that's the former general and former head of the CIA that got removed. So perhaps we should talk about that.
Well, McMaster is, of course, a member of the Council on Foreign Relations. The chemistry between he and the president, based on multiple sources that talk to me, is not good. The president
By the way, you said that a month ago. That's now in the news.
Indeed. So this
But
is...
what about Petraeus?
This is your classic Washington maneuver. The relationship between Petraeus and McMaster and Mattis is very close. David Petraeus, a high-level appointee of Bill Clinton, is a major influence, even though he has no office in this administration. This is the time for the president to clean house. This is the time to start anew and throw off the deep state spies and quislings who are right there in the White House.
Let me ask this question. Will Trump see through this? Because clearly you've got Priebus in the meeting. They're saying they won't name one person that was there. And you've got McMaster, and then you've got the Secretary of State, Rex Tillerson. And I don't think it's Rex Tillerson, maybe it's Priebus, but I mean, reportedly it's McMaster that continually is the person finger for the leaks. We know the president wouldn't tell anybody he was going to fire Comey until he actually wrote the letter with his own typewriter basically and said, I win, and sent it over. So he's testing right now to find who the leakers are. And this just looked incredibly desperate in a way for McMaster to endear himself to Trump. But all our sources have been dead on. McMaster wants 150,000 troops in Syria. He wants the wider wars. Trump's been saying no. He was, his fourth pick for National Security Advisor. So what does this portend, Roger? Because we've got the entire deep state constantly saying remove Trump, hysterical in the media to get rid of him, showing us how real he is, despite the fact all this money's coming into the economy, our country's being respected again. It's just crazy to see the whole deep state, both political parties, everybody out to get Trump, except the American people who are awake.
And it's not incidental that we have a video up now on the internet claiming that the president is suffering from Alzheimer's. I predict to you this will be the next wave of fake news, that the president is ill on the basis of a disease. I've spoken to the president in recent days. He is as same as he was 40 years ago. He is resilient, he is optimistic, he is upbeat, and he is not going to be undone by the Washington quislings and the establishment stooges around him. If you look at it on the basis of motive, and you look at everyone who was in the meeting, all fingers point to McMaster. He's the only one with a plausible motive. It's not in Reince Priebus's interest. It's not in Rex Tillerson's interest. It's certainly not in the Russians' interest. The leak came from McMaster.
The leak came from McMaster, all evidence, all common sense shows. And I just don't get how some of the population isn't behind Trump when the entire Republican leadership, the Democratic leadership, the globalists, the foreign governments, the Pope, the Communist Chinese, the EU are all against him. Meanwhile, he's trying to turn the economy back on. Meanwhile, he's delivering sovereignty. Meanwhile, he killed TPP. Meanwhile, he's killing the IRS, persecuting Christians.
Put a solid conservative on the U.S. Supreme Court, the first president to appoint a justice in the first 100 days since 1888. So he's keeping faith with the American people on what he said he would do, despite the best efforts of the Washington establishment to undo it.
Exactly. So how could people that claim they're anti-establishment watch the whole establishment against Trump and all these weird beta cut males that are literally walking around us, I guess watching us on Facebook, they know. And they go, oh, look, it's the lunatics. Oh, they walk by and go, USA, USA, and laugh at us. And it's just like, whoa. And I'm not trying to be mean, but none of these guys are having kids. I mean, so I guess they're kind of phasing themselves out in a way, but it's scary. I want them to be alive and awake. This is such an epic battle, Roger. How can they not see what's happening?
Well, I think we have a problem that many Americans, many citizens of the world are poisoned by the mainstream media, and they're still believing the monopolistic output of the mainstream media. And as they attempt to censor us, censor InfoWars, censor a vibrant, robust alternative media, they seek to regain the narrative. Donald Trump has demonstrated again and again his ability to seize the narrative and run with it.
And he's shown pure leadership.
And he will do it again.
Pure leadership, not caring about hype, not caring about peer pressure, not caring about all this, but literally doing what's right and then delivering on the economy in spades and the Supreme Court justice and everything. And then these people that are like, one of the commenters said, they're like toddlers versus adults. I don't want to be like an adult versus toddlers. It's scary.
They're naysayers.
It's scary to have these intellectual dumbasses not realize how serious this situation is. Hey, if America's so bad and a little bit of free market we got so bad, go to Venezuela, go to Cuba, go to China, go work in a slave factory at Apple with suicide nets. But you won't do that. You just go to your Mao bar and say you love communism with your smartphone. And stick both your thumbs, basically in your pants.
Wearing your Che Guevara t-shirt. And now I move that we go eat dinner.
Absolutely. Listen, we're going to do some more live feeds. We're already planning it. But this just shows to me the total desperation. I mean, what's going to come next? I mean, is the desperation going to backfire on them?
I'm telling you, the next move is Trump has Alzheimer's. He's not well. Trump's crazy. He's not well.
25th Amendment.
It's coming, folks, and it's bogus. It's BS.
We'll do a live feed after we eat. And after we make some phone calls, to our sources that they can't stand that we have, and then we'll have more intel for you on the plan to take out the president, which they're already shopping around. I'm Alex Jones. This is Roger Stone. Follow us at Real Alex Jones on Twitter. Give folks your Twitter.
StoneColdTruth.com online, and Roger J. Stone Jr. Jr. on Twitter.
And folks, we're getting censored more and more in blocks, so it's up to you if you want to defeat these people. And I love you to death. I'm not bitching. I'm saying, hey, we're in a war here. To spread Infowars.com, to spread this link as soon as it's not live on Facebook and Twitter and YouTube. It's up to you. You can roll over to the censorship, or we can win. We're starting to win. That's why the Jeff Bezoses and the guy that calls you all dumb effers, Zuckerberg, are so pissed, because there's still men that still have something between their legs.